Hello, and welcome to Intuitive Insights, where I share universal messages from readings that were specific to a specific person. But I share the universal message here with you so that you can use it specifically for you. I'm your host, Meghan McDonough, and here's this week's message. This picture brings up something I've been thinking about a lot and marinating over. The message has been kind of ruminating around me, and it is begging to come forward this week. The picture is of a bouquet of flowers, peonies actually, in a vase. The vase sits on the earth or on the ground, and underneath where the bouquet of flowers sits are all the flowers' deep roots. The two seem as if they should be separate, like two separate pictures, but they're connected. As an artist or a creative person and someone who is spiritual, I have always struggled on which direction to go towards fully. The spiritual world is exciting to me because there is an endless supply of questions, curiosity, things to learn, and places and areas to grow. It reminds me of the first time I went snorkeling. It was in Aruba, and it was like looking at an entirely other world under the water. Functional, beautiful, orchestrated, thriving. Then I started to think about how what I was exploring in that moment was just a pin drop in the vast ocean itself. A massive world to explore that was unknown to me but existed right in front of me. That's how I feel about the spiritual world. As a kid, I was told I never played with dolls much. I drew people's faces, their eyes, which is still my go-to doodle. I wanted to be an actress. It felt more like a calling than a fantasy. Looking back now, I see it as an access point to explore humanity in a very hands-on way. I wrote, I danced, I sang, I played music. I explored my creative expression. Those elements of myself are how and who I define myself as, at least in one aspect. I now realize, and I'm exploring here with you this week, that spirit, art, intuition, and healing are all different avenues of the same destination: evolution. Evolution of the self, the soul, humanity, earth, and connection. Avenues to shift in emotion or perspective. Avenues to inspire insight to another's plight or journey. Avenues to a leveling up to the higher or best version of self. Somehow shifting to the realization that art, spirituality, and healing are not separate paths in life, but different avenues with the same destination. Make the journey more fulfilling, more purposeful. An artist's life is never consistent. I've had 1,000,001 side jobs. I mean, you name it, I've done it. Everything from selling water to trucks to jewelry, waiting tables, being a horrible secretary. Seriously, pretty bad. I've done it all to support my artist child self, keeping the lifeline going to that part of me that loves to play, explore, be curious, and learn. When I found yoga, and that I could teach yoga and have my spiritual work as something that I could do alongside being an artist, it was exciting to me because those two curiosities I loved exploring could be paths that nurtured each other, kept each other afloat. But there was always a piece missing, like I didn't have the full picture, and there was this feeling of wanting more, which, to be fair, is part of the process of learning, exploring, and being curious. But my spiritual life didn't feel fulfilled when I wasn't exploring my creativity and expressing myself. And without an element of my spirit in my art, it always felt, a bit hollow. Art is spiritual. What I'm saying here is not a newsflash. And if you continued your life as an artist, you know that the flow and zen you enter in creation is spiritual. So that element of this message is not a surprise. The element that has been marinating in me this week is the healing aspect. Yes, there's art therapy, which is obviously meant to heal, but I'm talking more about the act of expression artistically. Creativity is not just healing to the creator, but also to the audience, and is a way in which spirit works through you, through the act of creating, through the act of joy. But how and why are they healing? What is the secret? What is it? Which is the right path to take? Which is the right path to be on? Am I on the right path? Are you on the right path? The message is, it just doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. What truly matters is this: find your joy in your work and make it purposeful. My daughter's in the 3rd grade. The 3rd grade is when, in my observation, kids begin to really explore social politics and work. Also, school becomes a little harder and less about just playing and having fun, but more like real. Another mom and I were talking about this the other day, and how this is when the big life lesson begins. The trick to finding the play in the work and the work in the play. It starts here in the 3rd grade. That lifelong lesson of finding the play in math, in English, where's the fun in history, in the arts, in social studies, in your taxes, in home repair, in spreadsheets, in traffic, in all the things. Finding the play or the joy in the work becomes the journey, all through high school, after college, and life. That isn't the focus of our society, though. So all through school, people are telling you how to work, and work is hard. I believe the mission is, and what I feel the message that's coming through this week from forward to say today is, find the joy in the work and the work in the joy. Yes, 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 you have to pay bills. You have to become an adult. There are things we have to do that are hard at first glance to find the joy. I mean, listen, I've found joy in someone unnecessarily flicking me off in traffic because it was unexpected and the person was so intense as they were teaching me a lesson, flipping me the bird and driving away. I've also felt pretty frustrated and let traffic get to me and have gotten pretty pissed off. But I will say that the former felt a lot better and I had a lot better day. As an artist, life is not usually linear. There are ups and downs, which requires some spiritual softening, especially in a society that values hard and fast trajectory of success. No matter what your chosen path or the path that you're on, it's hard to try and find the work and the joy and the joy in the work. It requires, 1, faith that there is joy in whatever you're doing somewhere. You just have to find it. And 2, the energy to explore. There's a yogic story that my teacher told me a long time ago, and I'm sure I'm going to butcher it here, but the gist of it is, out in the mountains, there were several yogis who had lived there practicing and praying to connect to God and asking for certain gifts, etc., day in and day out for what seemed like forever. Then one day they saw a young boy come out to the mountains to make a crude offering and prayer. The young boy did this day in and day out for several weeks, and the older yogis judged him for doing everything wrong. But after a short amount of time, God granted his wish. The older yogis were so furious, they challenged God. Why did you grant the prayers and the wishes of this boy who had no idea what he was doing, but have not yet responded to us who have been praying diligently for years? And what God said was, it's not what he did, but it's how he did it. He prayed with pure love, pure joy. He didn't get distracted by his mind or the intricacies of what exactly he was doing. He brought his whole heart to his offering. He brought his whole curiosity. He brought his whole joy. That is what matters. Find the play in the work and the work in the play in everything. That's the goal. How can you find play or joy in the most monotonous moments of your day? How can you find work or devotional structure in your offering of play to the universe today? What happens to you when you explore this? If you live with joyful curiosity, what happens? All right, that is this week's message. Kind of all over the place, but landed home on joy. Joy in all that we do. Always. It's not easy. It's not easy. I'm not going to lie. But it is meaningful and purposeful when you can. All right. So if you are looking for a little more of a specific message for yourself, you can find me, and I'd love to give you an intuitive reading and personalized workbook that coincides with it so that you can co-create with your spiritual, soulful message coming through. You can find me at magnetizeyourlight.com. We just launched last night. I'm very excited about this. The Ignite Your Life 6-week women's course on connectivity and exploration and exploring intuition and how we utilize it in our daily lives, how we find joy in our daily lives. If you have any questions on that or future courses, you can email me at info@magnetizeyourlight.com. And you can also find me on Instagram at magnetizeyourlight, at magnetizeyourlight. I'd love to hear. I'd love to hear what you feel from these journal prompts that I offer at the end of this podcast and the blog, as well as what the images inspire in you. They're sketches that come through from spirit to me, and I offer them back to you to play. If you'd like to get on my mailing list and receive weekly offerings of additional meditations or additional journal prompts, please email me at info@magnetizeyourlight.com, and I'd love to have you on my list. All right, have a wonderful day. I hope you're well. Stay curious, play, find your joy. Big love. See you next week.